everybody. It's Friday, February 20th, 2009. Thanks for stopping by. Now, I've heard this claim mentioned several times that Martin Luther King said that anyone who criticizes Israel or criticizes Zionism is a racist. And it seemed to me just instinctively that this was a false argument on many different levels, but I saw a great article today on electronic intifada, and I thought I would share a little bit of it with you, and I will provide the link in the description if you want to read this article, and I definitely recommend it because it's just a really great article. The argument is an argumentum ad verecundium, and this refers to arguing a point with an appeal to authority. This type is categorized as a logical fallacy. Citing one seemingly authoritative source is simply not conclusive evidence, even if the authority is seen as an expert on the given subject. And they go on to explain exactly why. I think there's 3 different levels on which this argument fails. First of all, Martin Luther King was not an expert on the Middle East. He didn't talk very much about it. He was not an expert on Middle Eastern politics that we know of. Second, he never said anything about this. He never said these words that are commonly ascribed to him. It's just a myth. They say that he wrote a letter to a friend. Well, that letter does not exist. No one's been able to find it. And then they said that he put it in a book, and that book doesn't exist as far as his estate can tell. And I think they would know if anyone would know. So, there's simply no proof that Martin Luther King ever said these words. Now, it is possible he might have thought it as an uninformed spectator that, people do sometimes use Israel to criticize Jews because they're anti-Semitic. It does happen. And he might have seen that and said, hey, that's wrong, don't be anti-Semitic. But if you think about it, if Martin Luther King Jr. knew what's going on in Israel and the occupied territories, do you really think he'd support it? Honestly, do you think he would support dispossessing people because of their race? Let's think about this. It doesn't take much brain power to figure this out. Israel is a racist construct. Martin Luther King died, gave his life, knew he would probably give his life fighting racism. Now, to me, to take someone who died fighting racism and falsely ascribe words to them which supports a racist state, or in other words, to pretend that a person supports a racist state after they have given their life and spent their entire life fighting racism is a most despicable act. It's just the most despicable thing that I can think of, and it's just such a disgrace and such an insult to the memory of one of the greatest Americans who ever lived. I mean, this is a towering figure. If you haven't listened to Martin Luther King speeches, I definitely recommend that you listen to them and see if you cannot be totally in awe of this man, and totally, blown away by his amazing insight and his amazing integrity and character. And now try to imagine this man defending Israel as it dispossesses people, as it slaughters women and children because they're the wrong race, as it constructs huge prisons for babies to be born into. Imagine that. Imagine Martin Luther King telling you you're a racist if you don't support the state that builds huge prisons for babies to be born into. Does that make sense? Is that a good argument? Or is that the most despicable falsehood that you can imagine? It is for me. Thanks for watching.